Hi, my name is Jumpy Bernard here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
The mix of salty sea air and burnt rubber. The big skies, high banks, and grandstands. The rumble in your chest. That's what we love about the Daytona 500. Honoring history and making it. At the biggest race of the year on the biggest stage of a lifetime. That's what we love about the Daytona 500. You gotta see it to believe it. Secure your experience now at Daytona500.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Tuesday edition and Iron Bowl edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Logan, everybody, this is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm filling in for Chris Stewart on the Crimson Tide Sports Network for our coverage of men's basketball in the Players Era Championship. We'll be talking some basketball with Chris coming up in just a few moments, but also plenty of football discussion, getting ready for what's coming up after Thanksgiving, the Iron Bowl on Saturday. We'll start our show by taking a look at what's coming up on the program thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's see what's coming up on the show this afternoon. Well, first of all, we'll take a look back to the win this past Saturday for the Crimson Tide at home against Eastern Illinois. The booth cam highlights from that 56-0 win against the Panthers. The booth cam always streaming live during football games, thanks to our friends at Regions Bank. Then we'll visit with Chris Stewart, not just about basketball. We get some Iron Bowl memories from him, and really he'll talk about everything that's on the line for the Iron Bowl this season as Alabama and Auburn meet coming up down on the plains. Speaking of the Auburn Tigers, we'll be joined by their broadcaster Andy Burcham for the other booth, getting a scouting report on Auburn and everything coming up for the Tigers getting ready for Saturday. And then we'll close out the show with Kelsey Rush, the president and CEO of Visit Tuscaloosa. She'll give us thoughts on everything that's going on around Tuscaloosa. Even though the football season might be done, still plenty of reasons for fans who maybe don't live in West Alabama to get to Tuscaloosa over the holiday season and enjoy everything our city has to offer. Looking at the headlines for the Crimson Tide football team, a 56-0 win against Eastern Illinois certainly was impressive this past week, especially when you consider Alabama really got to empty out the roster, play so many different players in that ball game, many walk-ons getting their only opportunity to play on Saban Field. It was just a feel-good Saturday and a great bounce-back win for Alabama. Now this week, the Iron Bowl, Alabama against Auburn. 6:30 will be the kickoff. That means our radio coverage across the network will start at 3:30 from Jordan-Hare Stadium. Alabama has won 5 straight against the Auburn Tigers, trying to keep it going and also pick up another win at Jordan-Hare Stadium, which would be a 3rd straight if Alabama can get the win. Also, it's really simple stakes at this point for the Crimson Tide in terms of the SEC championship game. The scenario for Alabama to make it to Atlanta: win the Iron Bowl. That's it. Alabama will be there for the SEC championship game next week. So hopefully this is the start of something very special for the Crimson Tide and what begins this week. The Iron Bowl will get it going, as Chris Stewart calls it in our interview in a moment. Got to win the state championship first before you try and win anything else this season. Been a look at Crimson Tide basketball. Last night, Alabama's starting play in the Geico Players Era Championship, and the Crimson Tide in a top 15 matchup fell to 12th-ranked Gonzaga at 95-85. Really tight game all throughout until about the final 5 or 6 minutes of the ball game, when Gonzaga had a good run, pulled away from the Crimson Tide, and got the win despite a career-high 29 points by Baron Philon Jr. on his birthday. Alabama will try and bounce back coming up much later tonight. It'll be a 9 p.m. tip-off here in Las Vegas. But for all of you back home in Alabama, 11 p.m. will be the airtime for Alabama, 11 p.m. is the tip-off for Alabama and UNLV. 10 o'clock will be our airtime all across the network. Vegas City never sleeps, and we will certainly put that to the test coming up tonight with basketball between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the UNLV Runnin' Rebels. Meanwhile, for Christy Curry and the women's basketball team, Alabama started strong yesterday at the Pink Flamingo Championships, Baha Mar Resort in the Bahamas. A win against Harvard, 80-60 the final score. Jessica Timmons, 25 points in that win for the Crimson Tide. Now Alabama will try and win the championship of the Pink Flamingo Championship coming up tomorrow against Minnesota, 3 o'clock our airtime, 2:45 on the network. Some other notes around Alabama athletics. Congratulations to one of the best individual champions we have seen on this campus ever, Doris Limnole of Alabama cross country and track and field. She is once again the NCAA individual cross country national champion. Great to see that for Doris. Continues to be a great representative and champion representing Alabama athletics. With men's basketball, some weekly honors as well for the Crimson Tide. LeBaron Philon Jr. named the SEC Player of the Week. Amari Allen, after getting 11 rebounds against Illinois last week, he has been named the SEC Freshman of the Week. Then congrats as well to the Alabama volleyball team. Had a good win in the SEC tournament, ultimately bowing out in the second round of that tournament. But great to see Rashinda Reed and the Crimson Tide volleyball team again pick up a solid victory for the Crimson Tide as they picked up again that win just this past week in the SEC tournament that is back for the first time in 20 years. So great victory for Coach Reed and a lot to be proud of for this Crimson Tide volleyball team as we get ready for the 2026 season. Right now, we're talking, of course, about what's coming up in this 2025 Alabama football season. And the last time we saw the Crimson Tide on Saturday, picked up a great win against Eastern Illinois for our final game at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Let's take a look back at all the booth cam highlights presented by Regions Bank from Alabama's final home win of the year.
Well, obviously want to see aggressive style of play here by this defensive unit who has been so good throughout the course of the season. One last opportunity here at home.
Play action, rolls to his right, fires back across his body. It's off the receiver and into the hands of the DB, Dejon Lee. Great concentration on the part of the Bama quarter. Darius Smith had it, bobbled it, and then Dejon just took it right off his back.
Dejon Lee actually pinned the ball as it came out of the receiver's hands against his neck area and was able to keep that contact before he was able to secure it. Heck of a job by Dejon Lee.
Two tight ends offset to the right, and two tight ends lined up on the right. I wonder what we're going to do here. Stretch handoff to Jam, goes up the gut, gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. He will go with a quick attempt. Ball's on the deck. Scramble for it. Recovered, I believe, by the Panthers at the 1. Great job by the Bama defense blowing it up. Tim Keenan III is the one that knocked it loose and almost got there in time to recover it and get a touchdown. Would have been great.
Sure would. Oh, man, Tim Keenan absolutely owning the center on these first two possessions for the Panthers.
Corey, got a feeling we may get one here.
There's a good chance right now with the way this defensive line's playing. It's good to see number 4 back in the lineup as well. Quay Rusal out there after being out for the last couple of weeks with an injury.
Simpson handing it off to Daniel right up the gut. He walks into the end zone. Touchdown. Untouched from 7 yards, Daniel Hill scoring the second Bama touchdown of this opening quarter. 4:49 to play. Brody Dalton, one of the tight ends, transfer from Troy. Also played at UAB. Play action, swings it out right side. There's Dalton making the catch and a nice job fighting forward. He's going to be really close to the first down. If he stayed in bounds, I believe he got it. Great catch for Dalton, this 50-year senior out of Fife High School. Gets it from the pistol, hands it off to Kevin right up the gut. He is 3 yards in before they touch him. Touchdown, Alabama. The Tide now with a 20-0 lead with 10:04 to go in quarter number 2. Jam to the right of Ty, handoff. Nope, Ty's going to keep it himself, directing traffic. 40, 35, stays on his feet to the 30-yard line before he gets knocked out of bounds. 15-yard pickup and a bank first down. Isaiah Hooey is the one who gets knocked down, as we'll send it down to Corey Reamer.
The interesting thing to note today, it looks like Ryan Grubb is on the sideline calling plays as your offensive coordinator today. A little change-up. Usually he's been in the booth all season. Just maybe wanted to see if being down here, being able to communicate with his players is a little bit more effective. Do a little change-up today.
Ty looking, firing downfield. He's got a man. Mbakwe at the 5. Jalen cuts it back, trying to fight away, but can't. He's brought down at the 2. Clay Chalkville High School product, Jalen Mbakwe almost got the touchdown there. Simpson from the pistol again, hands it off to Riley right up the gut, walks into the end zone untouched for a touchdown, Alabama. 1:05 to play before halftime, and Bama puts it up to 27-0. Mincy, Ivan Taylor, and Chuck McDonald III all in the secondary right now for Alabama as they'll run it right up the gut and get blown backwards on the play. How about the job by Justin Hill, the freshman linebacker, and Deere lined up behind him in that formation. Now they shift him to his left. Handoff goes to Deere, trying to break a tackle and spin in, and I believe he did. Touchdown, Alabama. A.K. Deere getting into the end zone and giving Alabama a 34-0 lead. Isaiah Hui is the man who made the stop. H-O-U-I is how it's spelled. Depending on how good the play is, it might be Hui, as it has a couple of times today, just to make Roger Hoover giggle. Washington as stepping up is Mack. He will run it to the 15, to the 10. Mack to the 5, Mack to the corner. Touchdown, Alabama. Austin Mack, a 20-yard touchdown run to give Alabama a 41-0 lead.
Yeah, pretty good wheels right there by Austin Mack.
Outside the 2, 1st and goal. Getting deep inside that Chick-fil-A red zone. Another bank first down for Bama. Handoff to Young, walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. 48-0 now the score with 7:34 left to play in this one. Jackson Lloyd was the man running interference. Boy, there are a ton of linemen getting run in and out. At this point, Butch is working like crazy to help me get names. How about Graham Roten? Great young man getting an opportunity. Former walk-on. Casey Poe is out there. Alex Rozier, the center. We talk about him a lot in placements, but getting to line up at center from scrimmage. Zaniga gets the snap, hands it off to Deere, makes a man miss and walks into the end zone for an Alabama touchdown. A great read by Deere and good blocking up front. The 5-yard touchdown gives Alabama a 55-0 lead with 1:15 to go.
Now, obviously, everybody wants to score a touchdown, but I've never seen a group of offensive linemen get as excited as what just happened. Second and third teamers coming in, dominating there at the line of scrimmage, and they were fired up because that is their touchdown.
Tucker Cornelius on to try the extra point. It's up, and it is good. And thank you for that, Roger Hoover. Cornelius with the extra point, a sophomore at 6'3", 195, from right here in Tuscaloosa, played at Northridge High School. His first point in an Alabama uniform. As again, more young men get an opportunity for Alabama. Lane Wisenhunt, a linebacker we mentioned earlier, gets credit with a stop. And at quarterback,
Joey Sprinkle.
Yeah, it is.
The tight end.
Wow.
Why not?
Why not? They said they would sprinkle some guys in at quarterback, but we did not know. Just do that. But we didn't know that's exactly what they meant. I blame you. If you'd left it alone, I never would have noticed it. You're the one that placed that on the tee with the final 15 seconds ready to tick away, and I think EIU is going to just let the final seconds tick away, and probably good for everybody. 55, check that, 56-0, your final. Alabama wins its final regular season home game in Tuscaloosa. We could be back here in the playoffs, but the 8 rushing touchdowns for Alabama, Roger tells me, the most for an Alabama football team since 1979. Coach Bryant's squad against Vanderbilt had 8 rushing TDs that day, and Kalen DeBoer's tied, does that today, and in the process goes for 269 yards on the ground. How about 270 through the air? As balanced as you could be, in rolling to the big win over Eastern Illinois.
What's up? I'm Deontay Lawson, and you're watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
Great victory for the Crimson Tide. Now Alabama trying to keep it moving this week with the Iron Bowl against Auburn. Joining us to preview that game, plus give us thoughts on Hey Coach and the men's basketball team, we're joined now by the voice of the Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart. Chris, it is great to see you. You are missed by the basketball team here in Las Vegas, but how's everything going as you get ready for one of the most special weeks of the year, Iron Bowl week?
Well, I'm sure it's the blackjack tables that are missing me more. But anyway, I'm really excited about the game, and obviously hopeful basketball will have some success out there after a tough opening game loss. But yeah, it's unbelievably special in this state, as you know. You've been a part of it a long time, as have I. And there's a lot on the line beyond the game itself. The truth is, and I've lived it 55 years, the game doesn't need anything beyond itself. It stands on its own in terms of importance and meaning. But there are quite a few things stacked for both sides in addition to it this year.
Really are. And for the Crimson Tide, obviously the tough loss to Oklahoma, you wanted to see a good response against Eastern Illinois, kind of similar to what we had earlier in the season with the ULM game after Florida State. What'd you like about Saturday and the way Alabama took care of business against the Panthers?
Just that. Took care of business. Efficient. Turned it over. I really only count one because the other's a Hail Mary at the end of the half. But the one turnover, but then you respond really well to that. Obviously, it doesn't do any damage to you in that game. It certainly can and will in this one. If it's a similar deal, we saw it happen and hurt against Oklahoma. But it played a ton of guys, got out by and large, I think, unscathed, which needed to happen given the fact you had some key guys on the sidelines for Saturday's game. Couldn't afford any more attrition from an injury standpoint. So I thought it was as good a day as you could possibly hope for. Ran the ball efficiently for those apparently on a committee that want to see style points or a certain aspect of it. I think 8 rushing touchdowns for the first time since Coach Bryant's 1979 team would certainly indicate that the run game was better. I understand who it was against and who it wasn't against, but still 8 rushing touchdowns at college football game, historically impressive for Alabama, and you hope that the success they had in that game can carry over in some measure to next week, or this week, I guess I should say, on the Plains.
And now for Alabama, as opposed to maybe a few weeks ago when we were trying to go through all the scenarios in our heads. Okay, how do we get to Atlanta? How do we make sure we're in the playoff? It's now pretty simple for this week. Win, and the Crimson Tide will be moving on.
Win and in is the case. You want to win the state title. You want to win the conference title. You want to win the national title. All of those are available to you as we visit today. But if you want the final two to be available, you got to take care of the state first, and that's okay. You know, we didn't really control our own destiny going into this game last year. Now we do, and let's go win. Let's go win the SEC against whoever it happens to be, and then let's go and handle business in the college football playoff. But again, first things first, you got to take care of an Auburn team that's playing its best football of the year right now. A lot of creativity and excitement for what they're finally generating on offense, combined with a defense that's been good from the start.
I promise I never try to age you on the air, but there is a number associated with this anniversary. It's 40 years since Van Tiffen and the kick. I want all of your memories from that day.
Oh, my gosh. First of all, I need your help to age me. Trying to wake up every morning does that. But the creaks and the groans and the moans take care of that. I remember it vividly, and I completely forgot that it's 40 years. I'm so glad you brought that up, and that's cool, and it's also disheartening to think that it's been that long. But, yeah, I remember it vividly. It was the first Iron Bowl I attended in person. So 40 years after going to my first Iron Bowl in person, I will get to do the play-by-play for my first at Auburn. And that's obviously on a personal note. It's cool. But that particular day, I got to go to the game. It was phenomenal. I was sitting in the north end zone. The kick went to the south. I was basically sitting between the goalpost in the north end zone. And so I had a perfect view down the line. I knew that the kick was dead on. Obviously, that far away, you couldn't tell if it was long enough. It was an incredible game, back and forth. The fourth quarter of that one was just unreal. Classic game even before the final kick, and the reverse on fourth down that kept the drive alive. And then get to the boundary, Greg, from Paul Kennedy on the radio that we would hear later, because we didn't have any timeouts left, and Mike Shula hitting Greg across the middle, and he literally has to fight to get out of bounds to stop the clock just so that there's a chance for that game-winning kick. And then for Van Tiffen to boot it through perfectly. And I probably hugged 100 people, 98 of which I had never seen before in my life when I did. But it was so special, such a cool moment, and one obviously. And there were no championships won in that, but it'll be forever known as the kick. They have theirs as well. That that games mean so much. You only have to say a phrase with them, and that's thankfully that's one that we've got. That we got 4th and 31, and we just look for our heart's sake. We hope it's the blowout is what this Saturday is in favor of us, and but if we have to get another dramatic last-second victory, by golly, we'll take it. Whatever it takes to get out of there with a W and advance to the SEC title game is what the doctor has ordered.
That's the goal for this Crimson Tide football team. Again, Alabama men's basketball out in Las Vegas last night. A tough loss in its first ball game to Gonzaga tonight against UNLV, and then we'll see what happens coming up tomorrow to round out the tournament. But what are you seeing from Nate Oates and this basketball team right now as they go through the Players Era Festival, which has turned into one of the premier events in college basketball?
Amazed at how the system gets you the shots that they want time after time after time. A few more misses, and I don't remember what the final numbers were from the game, but there were some dead-on looks we couldn't get to drop. But also, we got to be better on the glass. There's no question. You got to. And it's amazing, Roger. I watch, and it's not all effort. There's sometimes, but it seems like when the other side starts to get one or two, they then start to get the bounces to go their way, and it just multiplies. And that can happen for you if you start to get it going your direction. And this team's capable of that. They're going to be fine. So excited about what the season as a whole is going to look like, but just amazed at how game after game after game, you're getting an incredibly high-quality opponent. UNLV, is maybe not what they have been in certain years, but still really good. Great name. You're playing them in their town. It's another big game, another exciting game, and hopefully, drop the first one, but hopefully the Tide can get 2 out of 3 in Vegas and come back and then go into more of a meat grinder of the schedule before we simply go into conference play in the toughest league in the country.
Perfectly said. Well, Chris, again, you're missed out here in Las Vegas. I do look forward to seeing you later in the week down on the plains, but all the best. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for your time. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Same to you, buddy, and continue to knock it out of the park. Doing a great job.
This isn't just a race. It's the race. 500 miles of glory, a million memories, one place. That's what we love about the Daytona 500. You got to see it to believe it. Secure your experience now at Daytona500.com.
Fun Iron Bowl memories from Chris. We look forward to him calling the game on Saturday, the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn. It's time for a scouting report on the Tigers, and to do that, we're joined, of course, by the voice of the Auburn Tigers, Andy Burcham, with the other booth, presented by Marathon, as we learn more about all the changes that have taken place at Auburn over the last few weeks and what we can expect at Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday. Andy, it's great to see you, as we're both in Las Vegas for basketball, but can't wait to be back home in Alabama later in the week. How's everything going?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to be back for Thanksgiving, hopefully back for Thanksgiving, and then getting ready for a rather cool setting at Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday night as the Tigers play host to the Crimson Tide.
It really will be cool coming up with cooler temperatures at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And I'm sure for you all, of course, Alabama had a good non-conference win against Eastern Illinois last week. But let's start with the Mercer win for the Auburn Tigers and how Deuce Knight performed. How meaningful was that for this football team?
Not sure he could have performed much better in his college starting debut. I mean, he went 75 yards on the first play from scrimmage, scored 4 touchdowns, on the ground, 2 more touchdowns through the air, was really in command of the Auburn offense. Of course, Auburn decided to start Deuce rather than burn a redshirt year for Ashton Daniels, who had played very well for Auburn in spite of an overtime loss at Vanderbilt 3 weeks ago. So Auburn had a decision to make what to do at quarterback, made that decision on Monday that Daniels would sit and preserve a redshirt year. And then on Thursday last week, the decision was made to start Deuce tonight, and he was terrific. He was very good. And Auburn, I thought, played really well from the first quarter on, did not play especially well defensively in the first quarter, but then only gave up a field goal for the rest of the ball game against a real good Mercer team that's now getting ready for the FCS playoffs.
So now, as you get ready for the Iron Bowl, is the plan for Deuce Knight to be at quarterback for this game?
A good question. As you and I talk right now, Roger, I can't give you a definitive answer, but my guess is it will be Ashton Daniels. Just like there in Tuscaloosa, interim head coach DJ Durkin will have his press conference a little bit later today. And so I don't want to speak for the interim head coach, but if I were to guess, it would be Ashton Daniels getting the start at quarterback on Saturday against Alabama.
Well, you mentioned DJ Durkin. How have you seen him lead this program as the interim? Obviously, time before as the defensive coordinator, but specifically looking at the last few weeks, how has he handled this situation?
I think he's really handled it very, very well, especially during this interim role, and he's done it in the middle of a season where he has taken over the program. And I think he has added some life to this program on both sides of the ball. I think one of the things that he did that really helped Auburn is he gave Derek Nix full reign of the offense, Auburn's offensive coordinator. And Auburn has shown that in the 2 games since he has taken over, DJ has taken over as the interim head coach. Auburn has been really good defensively all season long. Those guys really rally around DJ Durkin on that side of the ball. I think they were happy when this change was made that DJ was named the interim head coach. And so I think he's handled it very well. Obviously, it's a huge change in the middle of the season when you go from handling just the defense to handling the entire program at this point. But I think all in all, DJ Durkin has done a very, very good job as he gets ready for his first Iron Bowl as a head coach.
Well, one of the things we have seen with Auburn in recent years, the roster has been transformed, more talent to this roster, specifically in some skill players. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball first. Who are the players that our fans need to know about as we get ready for this game?
Well, Jeremiah Cobb is within shouting distance of 1,000 yards this season and looks to get to that on Saturday night against a really, really good defense in Alabama. That's one. He has been here. Cam Coleman of late has played like the player that Auburn thought it would get when they picked him up a couple years ago, and he has been Auburn's go-to guy from a receiving standpoint and is just very, very good, especially in one-on-one situations. And I know Auburn will be tested by the corners for Alabama, but to this point, we have not seen a cornerback in a one-on-one situation handle Cam Coleman. Perhaps that happens Saturday night. Auburn will get tested by that, but Coleman has just been so very good for Auburn. And let me add one more, and Eric Singleton Jr., who transferred to Auburn from Georgia Tech, has a catch in every game of his career, 35 straight games in his career. He is Auburn's leading man with receptions and yards and gives Auburn some speed out at the wide receiver spot. So there's 3 for you at the special, or at the where we're talking about. Also, Perry Thompson has come on for Auburn at wide receiver, and Malcolm Simmons has been steady for the Tigers at wide receiver all season long.
And then how about on the defensive side of the ball? What's really the strength for Auburn on defense?
That's a good question, and there were some questions going in about this defense. The defensive ends for Auburn, I think, are the strength of this team. Just what Auburn has been able to do in putting pressure on the quarterback, Kieron Crawford on one side, Keldrick Falk on the other, who is likely to be a high draft pick for Auburn, if not a first-round draft pick for Auburn this year. Auburn has been really good, and I think surprisingly good at linebacker. Xavier Atkins, who transferred to Auburn from LSU, is Auburn's leading tackler. He leads Auburn in tackles for loss and sacks. He has been a man among boys at the linebacker spot for Auburn this season. And then Auburn is relying a little bit more on some freshmen at linebacker. Elijah Melendez, who had a pick 6 last week, against Mercer and Bryce Diaz, who has been very good for Auburn at the linebacker spot. Auburn, its experience coming to this season has been in the secondary. And Kean Lee is Auburn's best cover corner. I know he will be tested Saturday night with the very good wide receivers that Alabama will put on the field against Auburn. But I think if there's, and I wouldn't say it's a surprise, perhaps, but the guys that have stepped up at the linebacker spot for Auburn. If there was a question though going into the season, Roger, for Auburn, it was defensive front, because you just don't have that guy up front. But Auburn has been able to use a great deal of depth there. So instead of guys playing anywhere between 40 and 60 snaps a game, it's anywhere between 20 and 35 snaps a game. They're much fresher. And boy, at this time of the season, that can play a big factor in a ball game as big as the Iron Bowl on Saturday night.
Well, we're excited for the football game coming up this week. But first of all, just tell us about some basketball. Alabama, of course, in the Players Era Festival, along with the Auburn Tigers. As we talked about before we hit record, we could see each other in a non-SEC sanctioned matchup later in the week. But what's the excitement level around Stephen Pearl, his first season as Auburn head coach?
This is an Auburn team that's almost brand new from a year ago. Tahad Pettiford is the only guy that even started a game for Auburn a year ago and was very good for Auburn as a true freshman point guard. He is back, and now we're finding out a little bit more about this ball club. Keaton Hall has been Auburn's leading scorer and rebounder. Led the Big 12 a year ago at UCF, transferring to Auburn. Keyshawn Murphy transferred in from Mississippi State. He gives Auburn some size on the inside. Kevin Overton, a transfer in from Texas Tech, has been very good. Elijah Melendez is a fascinating one because he was at Division II Lincoln Memorial last year and is now in the starting lineup for Auburn. So he has started to come on for the Tigers. Auburn is getting some really good plays from some of its freshmen, including Sebastian Williams-Adams, who is from Houston, a 6'8" guy that can play anywhere from the 2, 3, or the 4, or even the 5 at times. And then, of course, brand new as the head coach is Stephen Pearl, who takes over from his father, who, by the way, is here in Las Vegas doing coverage. So that'll be very interesting to watch that dynamic. Auburn has been very good offensively so far this season, averaging over 90 points a ball game coming in, which is a departure from a year ago. What it has to continue to get better at is the defensive end. Auburn against Houston gave up some straight line one-on-one drives in its only loss this season. We've seen that happen in a couple other ball games, and that's something that Auburn has to continue to get better at. Auburn will play Oregon tonight and then Michigan on Tuesday. And then I have no idea what happens Wednesday or perhaps Thursday here in Las Vegas.
Part of the fun of this tournament. Well, Andy, all the best coming up in Las Vegas. So we can't wait to see you as well on Saturday for the Iron Bowl at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Just thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you. Have a very happy Thanksgiving.
My pleasure. Happy Thanksgiving, Roger. We'll see you Saturday. Bring some layers to Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday.
This is Red Morgan. You're watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
This isn't just a race, it's the race. 500 miles of glory, a million memories, one place. That's what we love about the Daytona 500. You gotta see it to believe it. Secure your experience now at Daytona500.com.
We look forward to getting down to Auburn for what's coming up on Saturday, the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn. Of course, fans have really enjoyed their weekends in Tuscaloosa over the last few weeks with football. You think of some of the incredible home weekends we've had against, say, Vanderbilt, Wisconsin, Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma. It has been tremendous atmospheres and juice running all throughout the city, not just on campus. Well, there's still plenty to look forward to, even though football season may be done in Tuscaloosa. Lots to look forward to in Tuscaloosa as we get into the winter and spring months. And here to talk about it is Kelsey Rush, CEO of Visit Tuscaloosa. Visit Tuscaloosa is the presenting sponsor of our broadcast for the Iron Bowl coming up on Saturday. And Kelsey joins us to talk about all the great things happening in Tuscaloosa, even though football season may be coming to a close. Kelsey, it is great to have you join us to talk about what's coming up in Tuscaloosa as the football season, at least at home, may be winding down. Who knows with a potential playoff game, but we're excited about everything coming up here the next few weeks. But roll tide. How's everything going for you?
Roll Tide. It has been a busy fall, but a great fall in Tuscaloosa. And we are also excited, though, with what's ahead with the holidays and just coming around the new year, which is crazy that it's already that time of the year. But it's been a good year for Tuscaloosa.
It really has been, again, a very fun fall that leads us right into the wintertime coming up. And you mentioned the holidays, of course, Thanksgiving just around the corner this week. And then after that, everybody starting to put the Christmas decorations up and getting ready for Christmas. What can you tell us about some of the fun holiday events we have here in Tuscaloosa?
Absolutely. So if you have been in Tuscaloosa in the last couple of days and, coming up on the weekend ahead, you probably have seen some decorations are already coming up, especially over in Government Plaza with the Tuscaloosa's One Place Tinsel Trail. Holidays on the Plaza has already been setting up for probably the last month now. But we've got so many great activities happening. We've got what's happening in the heart of downtown with Holidays on the Plaza, the ice skating rink. Tinsel Trail also does some really exciting events throughout the season too, anything from pet night to family night to pictures with Santa. So those are coming up as well. We have Bama Theater as a great example. They are doing some really fun holiday movies too throughout now and the end of the year. And there's West Alabama Christmas Parade. I hear there's also a really exciting event happening at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium as well, the Merry and Bright. So many things happening. Visit Tuscaloosa.com has a full list of holiday events on our website and on our social media too.
Yeah, it's just another great reminder that even though football season may be winding down and even some students go away from campus for a little bit, there's still so much to do here. And I know that's really exciting too as you start to think about what's coming up in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. The winter and the holiday season really does give visitors a reason to come and just see another side of Tuscaloosa. Again, fall, people are coming here for football season, but I really like to say that beyond football, there's a lot of exciting things happening in Tuscaloosa. Springtime is a wonderful and exciting time to come and visit. We obviously have a lot of parents' weekends and that type of stuff that take place in the spring, but there's also a lot of local events and festivals, and obviously the weather is beautiful. Flowers are starting to bloom, and it's just a really wonderful time to come and visit. And summer is a busy time too. We talk a lot in our office about the natural resources and the outdoor recreation. We may not have a beach and we may not have mountains, but Tuscaloosa has some really beautiful lakes that people can enjoy. Lake Tuscaloosa, Lake Nickel, Lake Harris. Lake Laureline State Park is undergoing a $15 million renovation right now that will open back up in the spring. So if you're an outdoorsy person, if you like that adventure, if you enjoy hiking or the water, we'd love for people to come back to Tuscaloosa during the summer and the spring months too.
And for those that love food like me, Tuscaloosa, an amazing food town. And really, even in the 12 years I've been here, Kelsey, it has changed so much, especially downtown. So many great spots now to go out and explore.
Yeah, that's so true. We actually do a Tuscaloosa restaurant week in the summer months as well. That usually takes place at the end of June. So that's a really fun time to come try out our culinary scene and also get some special maybe dishes or some discounts as well. But you're right, the food scene continues to grow. Obviously, people know Tuscaloosa for its barbecue scene, which I think is pretty good too. But definitely the barbecue and beyond, there is some good options. And again, we would love people to explore our dining scene when they're in town. We are actually looking at creating some food tours that we hope to launch in 2026 too. So just a unique way to maybe experience the dining atmosphere. Maybe you get to have a little taste of a couple different restaurants rather than sitting down at one. So we're really looking at how can we elevate that food scene. We're about to launch a bread pudding trail. So if dessert is your thing and you enjoy bread pudding, we feel like Tuscaloosa has some of the best around the South. And so we're about to launch a bread pudding trail as well for people to just kind of get out and explore again the food in a different way.
That's really exciting. And so many people, maybe parents of high school students, may be wondering, is Alabama going to be the choice coming up this spring? I know a lot of them are coming to Tuscaloosa. If you could just reach out to those folks and tell them just 2 or 3 things they've got to check out while they're here, whether on or off campus.
Well, so on campus, there's a lot of exciting things to do, whether you're into history or sports or just the beauty of campus. The Randall Welcome Center is a great addition to campus as well. So there's a whole day of things that you can do on campus. Off campus, I would say definitely go check out downtown. It's just an exciting scene. There's a lot of energy down there, whether it's arts or culture or food or events. Definitely check out the downtown area. Again, personally, I love to be outside. So if you are an outdoorsy person, check out Lake Tuscaloosa. If you want to rent a pontoon boat, you have that option. Check out Lake Nickel if you enjoy paddle boarding. You have the option to rent a paddle board out there over the weekend. So really check out our outdoor scene. The state park, like I said, it's undergoing that major renovation. If you are a camper or you enjoy traveling with your RV, that is a wonderful spot here in our community for you to check out too. There's a lot of things again, but those would probably be my top two things that I would encourage people to check out. And if you want to stay in the know with what's going on around town, visit Tuscaloosa.com is our website, as well as our social media. All channels is Visit Tuscaloosa, and we really try to push hard what's happening, what's going on, and what there is to do across the community.
It's such a great city, one we're proud to call home. Kelsey, Russ, just thank you for the time you've given us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and of course the great partnership between Visit Tuscaloosa and the Crimson Tide Sports Network for the Iron Bowl broadcast coming up on Saturday. We appreciate all the efforts that you lead for Visit Tuscaloosa. Look forward to seeing you again down the road. But thank you. Roll Tide.
Thanks. Roll Tide.
Thanks to Kelsey Rush, and thanks to Visit Tuscaloosa for being the presenting sponsor of our Iron Bowl broadcast coming up on Saturday between Alabama and Auburn. Speaking of that broadcast, it's one of the highlights of our upcoming schedule, a very busy Thanksgiving week for us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Starting much later tonight, Alabama against UNLV here in Las Vegas. Our coverage starts at 10 p.m. Central, tip-off at 11 p.m. Central. Look forward to Alabama hopefully bouncing back in Las Vegas, and then having another game coming up tomorrow to round out play in the Players Era Championship. Stay tuned to all of our social media platforms. Sport tip-off time for Alabama's third and final game in Las Vegas. We do know that there will be Alabama women's basketball at 3 o'clock tomorrow in the Bahamas against Minnesota. Kurt Bloom on the call starting at 2:45. Chris Stewart's in Tuscaloosa. He'll be hosting Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show coming your way at 6 p.m. Central from Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. So we look forward to that across our full radio network video stream available as well on Alabama Athletics and CTSN social media platforms. Then coming up on Saturday, the Iron Bowl, Alabama against Auburn at 3:30 will be the airtime for the 6:30 p.m. kickoff at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Don't forget you can listen on our full radio network, Varsity Network app, as well as watch the booth cam presented by Regions Bank. Then on Sunday, Chris Stewart and Kalen DeBoer will recap the game with the Kalen DeBoer TV show to our TV affiliates across the state and available on demand, rolltide.com. And then after that, we'll see what our week of programming looks like based on if Alabama is in the SEC championship game or not. But make sure you stay tuned to all of our CTSN social media platforms at UA_CTSN for the very latest on Alabama athletics and everything coming up during a very busy week of basketball and football all across the network. It's going to wrap up this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guests, Chris Stewart, Andy Burcham, and Kelsey Rush, as they give us plenty of Iron Bowl coverage to get ready for what's coming up on Saturday. Thanks to Ethan Carabin, our hardworking video producer. He puts together the booth cam highlights you saw at the top of the show, and then this entire program he puts together. We appreciate Ethan and all of his efforts here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. For everybody with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, this is Roger Hoover saying thanks for watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. It's a good time here in Las Vegas. Hopefully the Crimson Tide will get another couple of wins before we head back home for Thanksgiving and then the Iron Bowl on Saturday. But until later on in the week and our next time on this program, Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, have a safe Thanksgiving. Let's enjoy a Thanksgiving holiday as well as an Iron Bowl win for the Crimson Tide, and we'll talk to you next week. Roll Tide, everyone.